Allowance should have gone ahead this afternoon so that the Senate could do its job and scrutinise the legislation. Now, this has been going on for years. I used to work in the financial services industry myself. I used to be a banker and I used to make money. And I understand the culture in these firms. These FoFA laws were about changing the culture in the financial services industry and moving away from the business model, the vertically integrated business model that is a sales culture, towards independent financial planners. And a lot of work has gone into this. So I'd say today that the Greens are very disappointed. I know you've heard from Labor in similar, and we'll now go back to the drawing board and look at ways that we can continue to keep this fight out there, because it's very clear that we haven't got the right balance. The consumer groups here today are making that very clear. Not a single one of them around this country supports the government's weakening of the FoFA laws, and not one of them that I've heard, including from the financial planning industry, supports Clive Palmer's additions to the debate. This is about Clive Palmer getting a headline and about Clive Palmer grandstanding and showing who is running this country. And I'm very disappointed for the amount of work that I've had to put into this inquiry to see this result today, and I know a lot of Australians who I represent are also very disappointed. That's all I've got to say.
You probably heard just there Clive Palmer saying he hasn't spoken to anyone in the financial planning industry. Does that surprise you?
No, it doesn't surprise me at all. We late this afternoon we thought we had Mr Palmer's support for our disallowance motion, simply on the basis that we need more time to debate this and get it right. It doesn't mean that some of his ideas might have made their way into an amended legislation, but we didn't have the time to do that. This is unusual. The government took a really complicated set of protocols and legislation and put it into regulation on a weekend, the day before they promised their friends in the big financial services industry they would get this legislation through. Now, if you don't believe me, I tabled in the Senate today the transcripts from the Senate inquiry, where the Australian Bankers Association made it very clear that they had a deal with Senator Cormann's government to get these changes through, the FoFA amendments, by the 1st of July, so they didn't have to change their compliance systems. So this rush, this move to away from legislation to regulation, was done for the behest of the big end of town. Excuse me. It's our job in this building to legislate for the public interest, not for special interest. And that's why this is a shameful day. Thank you.
Thank you. And that was the Green Senator Peter Whish-Wilson speaking.